All right, boat gang, I'm off work early. 60 degrees outside and the sun is shining. So we're gonna take the brand new Impulse 32 out to the little pond and let her rip. All right, we are out here at the pond. We're gonna open this bad boy up. And we're gonna turn on the GPS. Now I'm not gonna tape it because I feel like the seal does pretty well. And since I'm gonna be monitoring GPS and speed the entire time, I'm gonna bring it in. We're gonna do a prop change. If you look over here, I have a 40 millimeter by 1.4 pitch 3-blade, and I also have a 45 millimeter by 1.7. So this is the Oxydine prop. Hopefully I don't break a shaft because I really don't want to lose this prop. But right now what we have on here, this is a 45 by 1.4. This is not the prop that comes on this boat. The original prop that comes on this boat is a 41 by 1.7, and it's a stainless steel prop. But I didn't want to run it until I had time to balance it. So I just, I wasn't going to run it. Now, one thing I want to discuss about this boat, I went on the forum on OSE and I looked at it. Very common thing to check is the temperature of the stuffing tube to make sure we don't have no binding in there on a brand new boat. Because sometimes the shaft on the motor here will come disaligned. What I noticed, I took my shaft out and the end of the shaft was not soldered. So when you tighten it up on your collet, it's going to crush that shaft and it can slip or it can come out, fall out, whatever. So I took the liberty last night before I ever ran the boat, and I soldered the end of the flex shaft, cleaned it up really nice, lined the motor up perfectly, and greased the hell out of it and slid it back in. So we're going to go ahead and give it a try today to see if it all works. We're going to click mode, get top speed, going to hit enter, record. Okay. I'm going to make sure. Okay, that works. That works. And as you can see, we're running the HCL HPs, the 6500s. Okay. So let's go ahead, put the top back on it. Nice and tight, tight and nice. Yes, sir. Okay. Let's get it. Beautiful. Wow, doesn't that thing look pretty just sitting there? I'm just gonna run it real slow at first. Kind of break in the flex shaft, because that's a brand new liner, okay? Need to turn my steering trim a little bit that way. I noticed some people talked about the boat with porpoise. I need to look to see if the front. Okay, what it is, I've got it trimmed up too much. So I need to bring it in and trim it down. I noticed, like, when you set the rear stinger and you can put it at like an upward angle, neutral angle, or down angle, there's actually a position in there, high and low, where it puts the flex cable in a severe bind. So if like you trim it down and you just and you don't have the cable in the collet, you can tell the cable's under a lot of resistance. So that in turn would create either more heat or a broken cable. So I found the sweet spot from like the middle, up a little and down a little, and you can only go in those little areas. If you go higher than that, you're going to put a lot of bind on the flex cable. So we're going to go ahead and bring it in. I ran it long enough. I'm going to lower it just a smidge, and then I'm going to lower the trim tabs on this side just a smidge. Okay, so what I have done, I went ahead and did 1 revolution down on both of the trim tabs on the right hand side, and I made the rear strut dead nuts level. There's a position in there where you feel it pop, and it pops kind of right into center, so that's where she's at now. Now that we have the rear strut neutral, we want to give that a try and see if that's going to make a difference or not. It definitely helped it. Need to take the turn fins, because I got the turn fins at a 45 right now. I need to lower them a little. Wow. Okay. Looks like I don't have enough nose weight. Maybe I need to put the batteries forward. Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't have enough nose weight. That's one thing I neglected to check. I neglected to check to see if this thing had a weight distribution 70-30. So that's what I'm gonna check here real quick. I watch videos on other people running these, and they don't ever explain like, oh, these are all the things we had to test to figure out how to get it to drive straight. I'm sure some people get lucky and it drives fine, but if you get on the forum and you start reading, people are like, oh, I can't figure out this porpoising problem. So I totally understand the porpoising. So that's exactly what it's doing. Okay. Now, bringing the nose up, we probably need to push the nose down. So you could do that 2 things. You could take the strut, push it down. You can use the trim tabs, push it down, or you can move the batteries forward. So I am going to try my best, because I believe the batteries are more or less towards the rear, and I'm going to try and push them forward. Okay. I have taken the batteries and I've pushed them forward roughly 1 inch, almost damn near as far as they can go. I can't get the strap in the front, so I'm just using 1 strap in the middle, and I went ahead and used the straps right here to kind of secure the battery straps down. That'll help to prevent it moving any more than it can. I've got them really, really tight right now. Thing spins so much more free now. All it needed was a little bit of run time. Let's see. See how it does with a little bit more nose weight. It's crazy. Wow. It really likes to dance and get up out the water. Wow, that thing it's throwing water in the air like, I don't know, 10 foot. I'm gonna run it by us real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna say water's going in the air probably 12 foot. It's running a lot better though. It's still not perfect. It's kind of like getting up on and riding on the back corner of it. Definitely a narrow boat. Yeah, look at that. It just wants to pop a wheelie. Wow, okay. We're gonna go ahead. Yeah, it just does not want to turn that direction. Go out here and make a quick turn and come back towards us. Okay, now, I think it runs pretty decent. I'm gonna make sure I don't have no water in it. Okay, it's running pretty decent right now. It's still a little like nose heavy. So what I think we need to do, we need to go ahead and take the rear stinger and go down with it, because it's still trying to like pop a wheelie. If that makes any sense. That looks about right. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it up here. Oh, I feel like I need to go down with the trim tabs, but I don't want to do 2 adjustments at once. Oh hell, that made all the difference in the world, guys. Woo! Yeah, that made a lot of difference. Now that I got the batteries up forward, when I try to make a turn, the front's nose heavy. Ooh, this thing gets up out the water. Yeah, this thing is nuts, man. Even with a 1.4 pitch, it still takes this thing a while to get up on plane. Okay, that was pretty cool. Now I'm gonna bring it in and we're going to swap the prop out, and we're gonna lower the trim tabs just a smidge. I think they both need to go down because she is a wild animal, y'all. She is an absolute wild animal. We're gonna go ahead and put this little thing on. This is my favorite prop for my catamaran, 40 by 1.4. And we're gonna lower the trim tabs. We're gonna do all 4 of them, 1 revolution down, and see what happens. All right, now I've got the trim tabs lowered and I have the 3-blade prop on. So let's give this thing one more go. Now by the time y'all be watching this video, I'm gonna be hitting the ski slopes. I was eager to get this thing out on the pond because it's such a beautiful day, and I was supposed to be skiing right now, but it's 60 degrees. So there's no sense in me leaving early to go skiing. I'm just gonna leave tomorrow. So I'd be eager to run this boat the whole time I was on vacation. Man, you notice how much smoother that 3-blade prop is? Just look at this thing. Are you notice? Oh my God. Oh man, this prop is a lot better. I mean, just look at it. Watch it. Look, look. It's not even porpoising. And it's now it's under control. After it starts to porpoise, once it hits the waves, it's under control. It does not like to turn. It just does not like that turn. Maybe it needs bigger trim. I think what it honestly needs is a bigger rudder. I looked at this thing and like, man, this is a small rudder for this boat. I can lower the turn fin a little. Let's do a full rip. That was quick. That was quick. Okay, let's check the speed on that. It was still like ridiculously out of control once I hit full speed, but that was probably the fastest and the most controllable I've actually was able to make this thing go. So I want to make sure we get any water out of it. I feel like we got some water in it. Okay, now that I got the the lid off of it, let's check temp. Motors 107, 108. That's not bad. 104 on the back side. ESC 116. Capacitors are 118. Oh, 125. Yeah, so we're throwing it to it. Okay. Now, I did have a little bit of water in the boat. I'm getting it somewhere. I'm going to have to do a check inside. I had took out the little plug in the back to where I could get all the water out of it. It wasn't much. It was like maybe half an ounce, but still, I don't like water. Now, one thing that's cool, we did get 50 miles an hour, but I will say this boat is totally capable of way more than that, because I only hit a full throttle rip right there for a split second, like maybe 2.5 seconds of full throttle. And that is with a 40 millimeter by 1.4 pitch, which is crazy small. But because it's a 2000 kV motor and a skinny V-hull, it's not very deep. That thing may be on point. Okay, I'm going to lower the trim tabs just a little more, and then I'm going to take these and push these turn fins and pull them down. All right, trim tabs have been lowered, and the right turn fin has been lowered as well. I went ahead and reset the GPS. We're going to do 3 laps, and then I'm going to bring it in, and we're going to throw on the high rake prop just until the battery goes dead, just to see how it performs. So much better. Trim tabs are the trick. Oh yeah, look at that. It needs a little bit bigger turn fin. It would help it. Because right now it's kind of washing the tail out. This thing is a rocket ship, y'all. That is crazy. All right. Oh, okay. I don't know if that was low. Yep, that was low voltage cutoff. Shit. Okay. Come on, baby, bring it to shore. Now, that was probably the best and the longest run that this thing has had. So, let's bring it in and check the temps straight out of the water. Because every other time I've checked the temperature, it's always been after I had did something. And typically, 125 degrees on an ESC, in my opinion, is about the max that you want it to be for, reliability purposes. Now you can run it to 150 or 160. You're pushing it at that point. But for this thing to be a 3682 with that large of a ESC, I really didn't think it was going to be that high of a temp. But I need to check my coolant lines, because I've got water coming from somewhere, so maybe I have a leak in one of my coolant lines. I don't know. Okay. Not bad. Right, let's check. You see the motor's only at 103? 111, okay. 111 on the back of the motor. 103 on the front of the motor. Let's check the capacitors. See, the caps are at 120. Yeah, okay. Now let's check the ESC itself. 111, not bad. Check the wires. 112 on the wires. Let's try these wires. Yeah, those wires are 112 as well. Batteries are at 104. Okay. Now, stuffing tube, I really can't get an accurate reading of the stuffing tube. Okay, yeah. 80 degrees on the stuffing tube. Because if you go over here to the hull, we're at 69. You go over here to the stuffing tube, we're at 82 degrees. So that we're getting a little bit of, you know, resistance inside that, which is fine, Let's check the mile an hour again. 50 again. So that's typical for that prop for this boat. Cool. Okay. I think we figured out everything that we needed to know. This boat is going to take some fine tuning, a lot more than I thought it would. But it's very similar to the Dominator in my opinion. It's a very narrow, kind of the same length, very similar setup. The Dominator, because it rolls over, it's got the batteries on one side. I actually thought about buying a Dominator that was not the self-riding version. But when I saw this for literally 60% cheaper than the Dominator, it almost has a similar setup, just a little bit smaller motor. But I like the offset motor and I like the offset strut. So that was something that I wanted to toy around with to where I could understand why that is the way it is. But from what I've learned today, the boat rides very well as far as left to right is concerned. Like when it's out there and it's running smooth, it's not sitting there doing this number. It's just staying nice, flat, and level. It's beautiful. But when it gets up, on a plane, this thing wants to like lift. And I don't know, now that I have the rear strut positioned downward, it's actually trying to pick the back of the boat up. So I need to level the rear strut back out to where when I hit full speed, it doesn't lift the back of the boat out of the water. That way it kind of stays planted. And then I need to just work with the trim tabs. I think that is probably my number one. I need to work with the trim tabs. And I may replace the trim tabs with slightly bigger ones. Play around with that, and then I'll probably get a bigger rudder. Need to look online to see if I can get a bigger rudder, maybe an extended rudder. That may help this, because that is not very far out of the back of this boat at all, and it's kind of just washing out. This boat did 5 or 6 360s today, but I think slightly bigger turn fins, slightly bigger rudder, slightly bigger trim tabs. Like any boat. I mean, any boat that you buy from the store, you're gonna have to do some, you know, updating on it. But other than that, very, very, very pleased with it. Very excited by it. So let's go ahead and take it back inside. All right, well, we are back inside, and this thing, I was absolutely impressed by it. It was a little frustrating at first to get it all ironed out. I probably got another 5 or 6 or 7 times out on the water before I figure out exactly what kind of settings this thing is gonna like. I do like this prop. This little 40 by 1.4 3-blade, it does very, very well on every single boat that I put it on. So I'm very, very pleased by this. I may buy a couple more of these that are slightly different variations. I may buy like a 41 or a 42. But as far as it being like this style, it's not like the typical high rake 3-blade. It does really, really well. Very smooth on the water. But other than that, like if you kind of gauge the size of these turn fins, and then come over here and gauge these, like these are 3 fingers, and these are like almost 4. So these are about I don't know, 3/4 of an inch longer. I would say these are more on the lines of like a small trim tab, and these are probably like a medium. So maybe I can rob some off of one of my other boats and just throw them on here just to see if it helps. One thing is, and I wasn't very excited about it, when I pulled my batteries out, one of my batteries was fine. It was like 3.6, 3.5, 3.6. The other battery was 3.5, 3.25, and then 3.14. So I have, these are the very first time I've ever ran these batteries. I've never ran them before. They won't fit in anything else, and since I've got these, I haven't ran the Spartan. They originally bought for the Dominator, but they wouldn't fit. So I was like, okay, these would be perfect. Let's go ahead and give these a cycle. I did test these before I charged them. They were still even. Everything always at 3.85 is where I storage charge them. But it was just weird. This was at like 3.56, 3.61, 3.58. And then this one over here was like 3.51, 3.25, and 3.14. It was just weird how like two of these were so much lower than the others. But I will say this, I did get a long run time. But before I ever went out, I went ahead and used the Hobby Wing program card, and if you turn it over here, I had changed this. So the low voltage cutoff threshold, it was originally set to 4, which was 3.2. I bumped it to 5 to the 3.4 since that's the highest valuation that it's got. But for some reason, that other battery got lower than the other one. So I wasn't very, very happy about that. But I should have used my timer and timed the run, but I was giving it such like moderate throttle, it wasn't going to give me accurate, information based off of like typical runtime of the Dominator. But other than that, did really good. I am upset about one little thing, which is that right there. It was like there's a little hole, a little pocket. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah. Not very, very happy about that. So I'm going to just take some epoxy resin and basically just tilt the boat up and fill that hole in. Because it's a legitimate hole. And then somehow they were able to get the paint and the curve over top of that. I didn't hit anything. I was very delicate with it. Just, last time I pulled it in, I was like, damn, what's that? I thought it was dirt. And I went like that. I was like, damn, that's a hole. And, whatever. But other than that, it ran great, guys. Ran great. So, thank y'all for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button before y'all leave this video. And by the time y'all are watching this video, I'm going to be on the ski slopes. So, I will see y'all next week. Peace out.